All this drip on me, I feel amazing. And you're so special, it's the occasion.
Shirtless
And I pop champagne like it's a celebration. All across the nation. Are you ready?
P-L-A-N-T-A.
Are you ready?
P-L-A-N-T-A.
Are you ready?
P-L-A-N-T-A.
Are you ready? Plantain Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show with On the Whistle. This is the AFCON pod. As we told you, we'll be working with the great guys at On the Whistle. Alistair, you can say hi anytime you want.
No, man, it's good. It's good to be with you guys, to be putting out some content with you guys. And I'm glad to come on today as well, having listened to your guys' preview. And I can't remember if it was you or Dean talking about how you have Nigeria as one of the favorites ahead of Côte d'Ivoire. And so I'm here to kind of push back against that Nigerian propaganda. I can't lie.
Of course, do you know what? I think it was me, but as a Nigerian, you just kind of just have to.
Of course, man. Yeah, I speak to Nigerians here, and they're all like, "Oh man, Nigeria is awful, blah blah blah, it's awful." And then you ask, like, who's going to win the tournament? Oh, Nigeria, man, Nigeria going to win it.
That's us as the people summed up, you know. So, so yeah, guys, if you don't know, Alistair is very fortunately in the Côte d'Ivoire right now. He was at the opening game for the build-up. He's doing a lot of great media work there. Alistair, just want to kind of talk to us a little bit about the build up to the opening game, you know, your journey there and whatnot, and what it was like, just the atmosphere in general. So
yeah, man, it was fire, to be honest. I think for me it's interesting being in Abidjan because, you know, the thing I love about AFCON is you get so many different footballing cultures, right?
Yeah.
And you have, like, you know, I've done a lot of stuff in Morocco recently, and there's such passion for the club football, for the national team. It's like aggressive, they're pyrotechnics, tifos is brilliant, like every touch when you're in the stadium, the opposition is booed, whistle. And then you get others where it's like, you know, say like Tanzania or, you know, a lot of places in Southern and East Africa where it's just like a wall of noise. Like there's no organization, there's just noise. Whereas here, I think because there's no, you know, you have one or two really good clubs like ASEC Mimosa and stuff, but there's not the league isn't really strong, and there isn't a real culture of kind of stadium going football. Yeah. So it's more just like, it's just like a big party. Like, it's just everyone is having a great time. Like I'm staying across from like this mall, and like yesterday morning at like 7, you had them setting up a stage and like dancers, and this is just like at a random mall, like, and they're like everyone is just out in force. And even on our way to the stadium, it's like almost 15K from the center of the city to the stadium, so it's not close. But the whole way, man, it took us like 2 hours to get there because the streets are just packed. Like the whole place is orange. I've never seen a country where so many people are wearing the national team football kit. Wow. And especially like Ivorian kit is so like it's so bright, so orange. Like this whole city is just orange, man. I can't lie, it's essentially a big party. I'm so here for it. I love it.
That sounds fantastic. Honestly, and this is what I love about international football, international tournaments. It's so different to club football that I almost get annoyed at how much disrespect, you know, not only just the AFCON gets, but just international football in general gets. We don't want as many friendlies. We just want better quality tournaments, actual tournaments that matter. We don't need 15 friendlies in between these tournaments, you know what I mean? Because again, it's taxing on the players, and it's just, you know, it's not great. But the tournaments itself, like you see, like, you know, just how much it means to the people. Like you said, everybody's wearing orange. You know, in a month's time, it's not going to be the same. Do you know what I mean? It's just everyone switches on. It's really, really refreshing. I've been looking forward to this for so much. I don't know what people's experiences are with opening ceremonies, but a few that stick in my mind, and I've been around a little for a little bit. You know, I think USA '94 was one for the World Cup. The 2002 in Japan and South Korea as well was another one as well. Like, what are the stark differences between those sort of opening ceremonies and an AFCON opening ceremony?
I'll be honest, I'm not one for opening ceremonies that much. I haven't seen loads, and the ones I have, I've not been super impressed. But like some of them, like the Qatar World Cup, it felt like this kind of like cultural expo, like you know, representing, you know, this kind of ethereal thing. I'm not, you know, I didn't really didn't really vibe with it. But here, bro, it just felt like a concert that was just like brilliantly done. It was amazing. Like and I think what I loved about it in particular is one thing that they've gotten right here is like the song, the tournament theme song, whatever, Aquaba, is it's a banger because Magic System just they don't miss when it comes to
They
this
haven't ever missed.
yeah, exactly. Like and everyone in Côte d'Ivoire knows the song. So like, and when they got on stage, like them and Yemi Alade, like it was fire because everyone was singing along. It just felt like you were at like an Afrobeats concert. It was so good. And even like they had Daju and Pike, part of my French pronunciation, but they were fire. Like honestly, it just felt like you were, like I said, it just felt like a big party, like a big festival. And that, especially when the fireworks went up, like I think people loved it. It was honestly, it was the best opening ceremony I've ever seen.
That see, and I love that. I would have loved to be able to have seen the whole thing, but unfortunately, the coverage pretty much everywhere, apart from probably inside Africa, has been very, very bad.
Even South Africa has not been good. I can't lie.
Oh wow!
Bone of contention. Yeah, here it's
wow.
It's not just in Europe where the AFCON gets disrespected, sadly.
Wow, because I mean, Sky Sports opened up at 7:45, which I believe, to my reckoning, was about 25 minutes before kickoff. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, where's the actual build? I mean, you just look at what they do for the Euros and whatnot. I mean, they're starting 2 or 3 hours ahead of kickoff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. So yeah. But in general, I think we're just gonna have to accept it for, because I remember in 2020-21 AFCON. On this particular podcast, we spoke about it again, just not getting the correct, and the right screen time for all of these things. I think it's so important. Tournaments are obviously all about the football, but also it's about people being able to learn about, the host country and stuff like that. And those kind of things happen when there's a correct amount of build up and stuff like that. So, I mean, we've all watched the World Cup, we've all watched this. How many times have we seen the commentators spend the time in the city that they're in, learning about, do you know what I mean? We just don't get that at AFCON.
And let me tell you, the commentary from all the British stuff, like Sky, BBC, either they're using the world feed, which is recorded in Paris, and when they will get their own people to do it, I think I was speaking to the BBC guys, and they might get someone to come out for the final. Oh wow! But that's it. Otherwise, they'll just be recording it in England, in Salford, and I think Sky in London like recording the commentary, but in the UK. So there'll be none of that capturing color, kind of being a part of it. Yeah, England, bro. This probably my favorite part about being here is not being in the UK for the coverage. I can't lie.
Yeah. I won't lie to you. There's a little bit of jealousy creeping in there because it's really frustrating. I mean, like these things matter, and they're fun. Like they're genuinely fun. Like learning is fun, for a lot of people, I hope anyway. But yeah, I mean, I suppose we're here for the football as well. Let's talk lineups, and we're gonna get to Ivory Coast. I want to kind of talk Guinea-Bissau a little bit. A few players to me stood out initially. Diallo, the centre back, number 4. While I hadn't seen pretty much anything of him, like it was highlighted that he played in Spain, I think in the 5th division or something like that. Carlos Mane as well, again, and I think it was it? I can't remember if it was Bikel Semedo. One of them had actually played for both Porto and Sporting Lisbon, but in their youth teams. So there's quite a bit of experience of these guys, trudging around Europe or whatnot, also because of diaspora ties to Portugal as well, kind of thing. Were there any surprises for this in this lineup?
For me, the biggest surprise actually was up front, because obviously the big hitter in this team is Mama Balde. Yeah. Obviously playing in France, and he's been their biggest player for ages. Yeah. And he's been the threat, but he's not a center forward. Yeah. He's more of a winger, kind of stroke forward. Playing. But for me, what I was hoping for was to see the guy who came on in the second half, Francolinho Ju. Yeah. Plays in Denmark for Midtjylland, and he's having like a terrific season in Midtjylland. He's like been really good up front, and I think because he's so young and he only recently kind of linked up with the national team, I think they decided to go with like Carlos Mane on the left and put Valde through the front middle. Yeah. And for me, that was the biggest kind of disappointment because Drew has a lot going for him. But I mean, it was always going to be tricky for Guinea-Bissau. They've never won a game at the AFCON. I think this is now 8 games in a row they haven't scored.
Wow.
And they've qualified for the last 4 AFCONs.
I mean, it's the same coach. It's the same coach that's taken them to the 4 AFCON. So he's clearly doing something right in that regard of getting them there.
Bro, let me tell you, he's not just like, this coach is wild, Basir Kande.
Yeah.
So okay, he coached the national team from 2001 to 2010.
Yeah.
Then left, came back 6 years later, and has been coaching them since. So he coached them to their four AFCON because their first AFCON was 2017. So he's coached them to their four AFCON qualifiers. But the guy has been in charge for like almost 20 years now of the national team. Is crazy. But actually, I was speaking with some Guinea-Bissau guys, and I think there's a frustration with him now. Yeah. Which surprised me because I was like, yo, this is a tiny country. Like, qualifying is so impressive. They beat your lot in the qualifiers in Lagos or Abuja, I can't remember. But yeah, they're saying that actually there's a lot of frustration because they haven't, like I said, they haven't scored in 8 games. They haven't won a game at the tournament. So it was a little disappointing from Guinea-Bissau, I think. And I think they came out with a plan, and then immediately Fofana scores a banger, and that kind of it's out the window, and suddenly they have to try and score, and Côte d'Ivoire just cruise to it.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose let's get to the Ivory Coast. It's just in comparison to to Guinea-Bissau, but to a lot of teams, it's a star-studded side. Just going through their midfield, they could afford to leave Seri on the bench. So. Ndika, who obviously plays for Roma, he's been linked to pretty much every other big league in Europe. I actually think, for me, one of the biggest surprises there was the goalkeeper being left out. What about you?
For me, it wasn't a surprise that Yaya Fofana started. I think for me, that was the biggest questions were around this team because, like you said, this is such a good team. Like, it's not star-studded in the sense of previous Côte d'Ivoire sides. They don't have a Didier Drogba, but they don't have Yaya Toure. But in terms of the quality, and particularly that midfield, is unreal. Like Ibrahim Sangar, we haven't seen quite the best of him at Nottingham Forest. We've seen glimpses. And I think because both Kessie and more so Fofana have gone to Saudi. Yeah. They've gone off the radar for a lot of people, but Fofana is such a baller. Like, he's the closest thing to a Yaya Toure that I've seen. He's not quite technically as much of a baller as Toure, because Yaya Toure is. I mean,
we say that, but we look at his goal and how many like the balance and the touches like it was just so unreal. It actually did remind me of Yaya Toure a little bit because being able to hold off like 3 or 4 players while taking all those touches to get out of your feet was just fantastic on it. Those are the type of goals I really, really enjoy, man. But the balance of play, I think, do you know what? Both teams gave as good as they got, but what I enjoy, but also what kind of disappoints a little bit is, and not from because one team is just not good enough. It's more about I like upsets and stuff like that. It kind of went how I expected. The team with the better players were clearly the better team. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of hoping for a little bit more from Guinea-Bissau, despite them actually playing quite well. And I feel like a lot of the things they were trying, they were trying to, sucker in Ivory Coast a little bit and then hit them on the counter, or just play clever passes into midfield kind of thing and kind of move them around a little bit. But Ivory Coast, whenever they just want to step it up, they just stepped it up, and Guinea-Bissau couldn't live with them at all. It was really fascinating, to be honest, just to see traditionally, good sides just asserting themselves. Football has become such a tactical sport where nowadays, even if you have good players, it doesn't guarantee you the win. But yesterday just seemed like such a foregone conclusion. Yeah,
I think that's spot on, man. Like, I think with Côte d'Ivoire, becoming into the host, they've got to be one of the favorites. They have a good team. Yeah. They were a mess a couple of years ago, but with Jean-Luc, I said they've done really well. But I think, the question is always with the big teams, like, how can you manage these games? And, even like last AFCON, I think we saw so many of the big teams struggling in the group stage. I think, huge part of that is down to COVID and how that impacted preparation. but bro, it was so comfortable. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you're right. Like Guinea-Bissau played well. You know, there was a couple times they got in behind. They, you know, I think they did well to kind of target that kind of Singo Diomande kind of right side of the defense, which Singo's not a natural right back, more of a center back. So kind of he looked a little out of position. And Diomande obviously got subbed off kind of in the 70th minute, which for center back is quite rare. So I think they, you know, they had a game plan to get kind of Balde, Mama Balde and Carlos Mane kind of attacking that. But Côte d'Ivoire just managed it so well. Like, and like you said, you know, they're kind of comfortable at the game. weren't necessarily like dominating, but then like you said, those moments where they just said, all right, let's step it up, and they did, and they showed that they had the quality. And I think for me, that's what's scary about this team, because it was so comfortable. They could rotate everyone. You know, they were making subs, you know, early in the second half, bring on people like Pepe, you know, Willy Bolly, getting you know, one player who I think is really, really interesting, and I hope he gets more time. It's Karim Konate. I don't think he had the best game yesterday, but watching him, he's such a talent. He came through here for ASEC Mimosa here in Abidjan, and then moved to RB Leipzig, Salzburg, and he's so good. And he's going to be their star of the future. For sure. But for me, that's the scary thing about this team is they don't even have their strongest lineup yet. You know, they're missing Sebastian Haller, who's by far their best center forward and world class, and they're missing probably their best winger in Simon Adingra. And so, you know, both of them are still with the squad. Both of them are expected to come back. So I think, you know, they already look good. That front three of Kasso, you know, Bam Bam Boga look pretty good. But then you throw in Adingra and Haller, and suddenly this is
a really good team inside, man. You know, and we've joked, you know, we're going to be joking about the entire tournament, but, you know, we talk about all these players that play in Europe and they look great in Europe kind of thing, and then AFCON is the great equalizer. I'm kind of scared that might not be the case this tournament. I'm worried that all the good players are going to actually show out, and that's not my AFCON. That's not AFCON I know.
I think what it is AFCON is the great equalizer, and you have to have, but it's more you have to have experience on the continent. And you know, I think the last tournament we saw some of the guys for Côte d'Ivoire who hadn't had experience. So like Fofana, he turned down a lot of call-ups for the Ivorian team, which is why he's kind of only come through quite late. We saw like Wilfred Zaha, you know, do the same, you know, play for England and then come to Côte d'Ivoire, and he just couldn't hack it, and he really struggled. But I think that's the thing, is now these guys have got time under their belt playing on the continent, because like you said, AFCON is the great equalizer. You need to have experience playing on the continent, playing in the conditions that often arise. And I think that's the thing, is these guys, they've been able to not rush bringing in some of the European-born players. They brought them in, had a couple years under their belt, and now they're looking like a proper team. So I think Côte d'Ivoire they're looking scary.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game on Thursday. I know obviously Nigeria play a little bit later today, but that's the one I'm really looking forward to as well. Do you see a place for Jean-Michel Seri in this team? Because he's one of my favorite types. His profile is one of my favorite types of midfielder for sure. But I'm almost looking and thinking, why would you rock the boat with Sangare, Kesse, and Fofana? You know.
Honestly, I agree with you. I love Jean-Michel Seri, and for me, like, he was one of the biggest disappointments for me when he came to Fulham and kind of just didn't cut it. And same with like Frank Zambo and Gisa, like clearly such good players, but then got ruined by that kind of Fulham team that just bought everyone. You know, was doing their best Chelsea impression. But I'll be honest, especially with the profile that these three guys have, bro, their engines are unreal. Seko Fofana came and did the press conference after the match.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
But you walked past me, and bro, I was just shook. He looked like he was on the way to the gym. Like he did not look like no sweat, no stress. Like he's just chilling. Like I was exhausted by the end of the game, and he was just chilling. Like, so for me, I think Jean-Michel Seri has a place in terms of his, you know, brilliant technician, great at kind of retaining possession, and maybe if Sangare, you know, is getting tired, he can come in. But even I think it was Omar Diakite who came, or no, is it just Doumbia who came in kind of as that replacement? But man, those three, particularly Kessie and in particular Fofana, they're so good, and they have such engines. I don't see them like honestly ever getting subbed. That's as much as I agree with you. I like Seri. I don't see him breaking into this team.
Yeah. What about another veteran, Max Gradle? By the way, I just can't stand him, and I can't explain why. But yeah, never. When he was at Leeds, couldn't stand him. He's like, I think he might be the oldest player at in the squad right now. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Ahmed Musa in the fact that, why are you still getting call-ups for the team at this stage? What are you doing there? I mean, like, literally go start a family or something. I don't know. Like, you shouldn't be around. Like, do you see him making an impression here? Or
Nah, man, this guy is here for the vibes. He must, like the Connor Cody types. He's a good lad. It's like that's the only thing I can think. Because I'll be honest, because like I said, like even coming off the bench, even they have Nicolas Pepe. They have when Adingra comes back, that's both their wings covered. Like I just don't see. Nah, he's there for the vibes, man. Like there's and nothing else. Like I can't lie.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I just can't lie. I want to shit on him a little bit. That was the reason why. But yeah, I mean, press conference. I suppose, what are your biggest takeaways from what the Guinea-Bissau manager Conde had to say?
I mean, press conferences are always, they're kind of finding a million different ways to say absolutely nothing.
That is true. Yeah.
But I think for him, like, you could see he was strifing, like, he was having a hard time and he was really frustrated. Yeah. Especially one of the guys, like, one of the first questions that someone asked him, man, people don't hold back. They're like, yo, did you disrespect Côte d'Ivoire and get punished for it or something like that? And it's like, bro, like, some people are savages out here. But I think it was more like, he's for them it's simple. They have to improve. Mm-hmm. For me, they're the worst team in this group because I'm hoping, as someone who loves the underdogs, that Equatorial Guinea are no slouches. They're a really, really good team, and like they're really well put together. They have an excellent coach in Juan Micho Obiang. So I think for me, like, Guinea-Bissau, it's going to be hard work for them to get anything out of this group, and it's all going to come down to that next game against Equatorial Guinea, because they find themselves in the same position that they did last AFCON, because obviously they were with you guys, the Super Eagles, last AFCON, and Egypt and Sudan. And the mistake they made is they didn't win that game against Sudan, and that with the way the groups are, and that third place being so key, you have to beat the other basement boy. You have to. And for them, oh, bro, that was the worst game of AFCON 2021. I can't lie. That 0-0. I'll never get those 90 minutes back. But for me, like, it's going to be hard work, because genuinely, Equatorial Guinea, I can see them getting a draw against, to be honest, against the Super Eagles, unless Super Eagles get their act together. Yeah. And then if Equatorial Guinea get that result, you'd have them as favorites to beat Guinea-Bissau. So it's a long road back for Guinea-Bissau. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's sad. You always want a bit of jeopardy and excitement, but it's the natural order of things. Sometimes good players and good managers, I suppose, get their rewards. I suppose the next thing now, is Gassé the oldest manager at the AFCON? I think he is.
He must be, man. I'll be honest, I didn't know much about him coming into the tournament, and then he walked into the press conference. I was like, bro, this guy needs someone to give him a stick or something. He looks so old. I think he is. And I think for me, there was two questions around this Ivorian team coming into the tournament. Yeah. One was goalkeeper Yaya Fofana, not because he's a bad goalkeeper, because I think he's actually been the best goalkeeper in Ligue 2. I think he's got the most clean sheets with Angers. Yeah. But it was the fact that he literally just came in this year. He displaced Badr Ali Sangare, who's not a great goalkeeper, but has experienced lots of caps, etc. And so questions of how he would do. And I think he looked good in terms of shot stopping. His distribution wasn't as good as I was hoping. But the other big question was Jean-Louis Gasset, because again, like we were saying about players, the same with managers, man. You can't. It's so rare for you to walk into an AFCON and get that W. We think of the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest coach alive and most beautiful man, Hervé Renard. Yeah. The only guy to win it with two countries. Yeah. Is even for him, he'd done his like work as an assistant, on the continent before. He was familiar with the continent, where Gasset just came straight from, he was at Bordeaux and kind of French club football. So I think for me that was the biggest question. But so far he's not really put a foot wrong. He's done well.
I think you mentioned as well before on the account that he there was obviously some comments on on Diamande. What do you think? Where do you think Gasset sees him? Like, where do you think he sees him as the tournament progresses?
Yeah, let me tell you, man. This is how good this Côte d'Ivoire team is, right? We talk about their midfield, that I think they have the strongest midfield in the tournament. Their center backs is unreal, the amount of center backs they have, right? This is a team where they played 3 center backs in a back 4 because they wanted to get Wilfred Singo in instead of Serge Aurier, which breaks my heart, but I totally understand why.
Serge Aurier isn't fully fit though.
But I think there's a lot of. It's funny. I think he splits opinions so much because he came to do his warm up right at the end of the first half. He got such a big cheer.
Yeah,
like huge cheer. Like people love him. But then on Twitter, I was like reading through. There was one of the Ivorian journalists, he kind of in the know, did a like predicted team yesterday, and he didn't have Aurier in there, and loads of people were like, "Oh, praise! Like we don't want his nonsense in this team." Like, so I think he splits opinion. But what I was saying is like this Ivorian team, the amount of center backs they have. So you have those 3 starting at center back. Willy Bolly, who's brilliant, solid Premier League defender on the bench. Odilon Kosunu starting at Bayer Leverkusen, best team in Germany this season, looking brilliant. He can't even get a look in. He literally, they have 4 center backs play yesterday, and he didn't get in. But I think for me, that's how much. And it was I was so surprised that Diamande started because he's only 20. He's so young. He's been brilliant at Sporting. But I think that it was strange because Gasset was saying like he looked like he was overwhelmed with the occasion. Mm-hmm. He looked like he was struggling, and that's why he brought him off. But then he was saying like, "Oh, but I think he'll be really better for it." I didn't actually think he was terrible. I thought Singo was the one who was struggling a bit more on the ball. Mm-hmm. But I think it didn't look good for Diamande. I hope he gets another look in because I do think he's terrific. But I wouldn't be surprised if the next match we see Willy Bolly starting at that right-sided center back. But yeah, we'll see. It's a shame because I do like him, and I think he'll be their best center back for the next decade.
Yeah, I think I'm of that opinion as well. That's why I was interested to hear your comments on him. But it's kind of funny because they've got such a surplus of centre backs. Do you think at any point France come calling and saying, "Look, you guys aren't getting games for Côte d'Ivoire"? Like, do you wanna hand in your Côte d'Ivoire
passport? Get that French one. I think fortunately for Côte d'Ivoire, all of them have made enough caps where France can't steal them. I think Diamande was the closest. I think it was the World Cup qualifiers. He got his I think it's 4th cap, which made him ineligible, which is good because like you said, the people. But also, I think players, some of them are, but I think Diamande isn't even eligible to play for France. He's born and bred in Côte d'Ivoire. So no, I think France. Yeah, but honestly, like
there's a wealth of them, and it's hilarious because France themselves also have a wealth of center backs.
Exactly. But that's the thing I love about international football because like you have Côte d'Ivoire who have I would say 5 of the best 20 center backs at this tournament. Yeah. Right. And then you have the Super Eagles who have like 10 of the best strikers in the world, but don't have a midfield, don't have a goalkeeper. Like this is what I love about international football. Like you just have to make things work.
The scales are so unbalanced. Yeah. You can only make for just wonderful viewing, honestly.
Exactly.
I think this is a great place to leave it. We'll be back very, very, very soon. I mean, there's literally football every single day for the next 2 weeks before the group stage finishes. You know exactly where to find us at the Plantain Show on Twitter as well. Alistair, can you just plug yourselves again, please? Because guys, go follow them. Seriously, go follow them. Go interact with all their shit. They are so fucking good. I'm like deadly serious. Like I don't endorse many people, but I'm deadly serious about this, guys. Do it, or else I'll come find you.
Nah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, we don't have the same good vibes that you guys have. I absolutely love the vibes you guys have going here. But we have done a lot for the tournament. Like in terms of previews, we've done a preview on every single country coming to the tournament. Aside from Guinea-Bissau, actually. Yeah. And like with proper kind of experts and stuff like that. And then we've got some interviews with the likes of Jan Wisa, Frank Onyeka, and a few others. So definitely tune in to if you're interested in that sort of thing, because for us we love African football, man. We love AFCON. That's what we live for. Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, your Twitter is OTW underscore podcast, if that's right, and it's the same for your Instagram as well.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So guys, you know where to follow them. Go search that on your Spotify, your Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, all of that good stuff. They are fantastic, and this is a joint venture, so you can find this pod on both our platforms, and we'll be coming back with video pods as well once you sort out the logistics. So yeah, guys, it's been great. Cannot wait to speak to you guys again. Take care. Peace.
All this drip on me, I feel amazing. And you're so special, it's the occasion. And I pop champagne like it's a celebration. All across the nation. Are you ready?
Plantain.
Are you ready?
Plantain.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Plantain Show.